Welcome back to Empire Law. I'm Kara, and today here we have Deborah Song from Empire Law. Deborah, how are you?
I am doing okay. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. So today we are talking about car accidents in Narco, California. Narco is known as Horsetown USA, a city where equestrian trails run along major roads. Rural two-lane streets feed directly onto freeways on ramps, and the SR 91 and I 15 interchange funnels hundreds of thousands of commuters through one of the most congested interchanges in South California. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department handles all law enforcement here instead of the city police force. And the rapid development pushing into formerly rural areas is changing the roads faster than most residents realize. So we are going to cover what to do after a crash, how California's fault system works, the deadlines, and when you need a lawyer. So the first question I want to ask, Narco's law enforcement is handled entirely by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. There is no city police department, and that changes how the first few minutes after a crash plays out. So what should someone do immediately after a car accident in Narco to protect their claim?
In Norco, that is true. A lot of times the Riverside Sheriff will come out, so you would call the Riverside Sheriff's Department. I have actually seen a lot of police reports been filed with the Harupa Valley Police Department as well. Um, and that usually is I think I prefer the Riverside County Sheriffs, though, when it comes to police reports. I think Harupa Valley takes a long time, and there's no really time estimations that I've seen that they give when it comes to retrieving the police report, and that can be a problem when it comes to trying to resolve your liability dispute if there is a he said, she said situation. So the Riverside Sheriff's Department, I think, would be a good call. You could just pull it up on your phone and Google it, and then you would just call that number, or you can call 911 and they'll transfer you over to them. That works as well. Make sure to report if they ask that you are injured, even if you don't think you are and you don't feel anything. Right at the time when the accident happens, you have an adrenaline rush, so you usually won't feel anything. But if you tell the officer that you are not feeling anything and you're not injured, a lot of times they'll refuse to come out and say, oh, okay, well, you guys just exchange information, then we will not send anybody out. So that becomes a problem later if you have some liability disputes. So make sure to say that you are injured just so that they can come out and document everything. And then also, if for some reason they still refuse to come out for whatever reason, that maybe it's a busy day, make sure you take all the photos, all the video prior to moving your car around. Like, instead of pulling it over, if it's safe enough to do so, to just leave your car as is and just take a picture and video of how the cars are positioned after the accident. That might be the best bet if there's no traffic and it's safe to do so. So then later on, if, let's say, the police doesn't come out, and later on you're trying to open up a claim and it turns into a he said, she said situation, the attorneys, depending on how big your case is, they may hire an accident reconstructionist expert to look at all those photos and videos that you've collected and determine and reconstruct in an animated format of how the accident happened. So that can be pretty helpful later on down the road as well.
Are you legally required to report every car accident in California, and kind of what happens if you miss that deadline?
I won't say every car accident. It will be for if you are injured, or if anybody is injured, if there's any injuries, if anybody has passed away, or if there is property damage, that damage to your car or anything outside of the car or even inside of the car, your personal belongings. If there's any property damage that's worth more than $1,000, then you have up to 10 days to file what's called an SR1 with the state of California's DMV. and it's spelled S as in Sam, R as in Robert, and then followed by the number 1. So you can Google it, DMVSR1, and the first link should take you to a portal where it'll allow you to fill out the form online now. So you can fill it out and then submit it and do that. If you're not sure if anyone's injured, if you're not sure if the property damage is $1,000 or above, then the best thing to do is just file it anyway. It only helps you. It doesn't hurt you to file it. If you don't file it and you were supposed to file it, then you risk your license being suspended by the DMV.
Narco does not have a hospital within city limits, so knowing where to go before you need it makes a difference. Where should someone in the Narco area go for medical care after a crash, and why does the visit matter for their claim?
I know in Norco there might not be a hospital, but there is a Norco urgent care down on Hamner, kind of across the street from Target area. And usually they take all major health insurances. And then if you're more closer to the Eastvale version of Norco, like up Hamner, a little bit more closer to like 6th Street or something like that, there is an urgent care in Eastvale as well, who also takes major insurances. So the best thing to do is just kind of Google it and find out where the nearest urgent care is and go there. If you're having any concussive symptoms, they may redirect you and reroute you and tell you to go to the ER so they can do a CT scan, because urgent cares don't have CT scan machines if you are experiencing something that they suspect could be a concussion. So if you know or have a feeling that you have concussive symptoms, and if you're not sure, call an attorney and they'll go through questions with you to find out. Then they'll most likely tell you to go to the ER. And I think the local one or the closest one would be like Corona Regional. They take major health insurances as well. If you don't have health insurance and you don't think you'll qualify for emergency Medi-Cal, depending on your financial situation, if you feel like you may, then it's always worth going to the Corona Regional and seeing if you can apply for that, just so you don't have to pay for the big ER bill, especially if you do have concussive symptoms. They're going to be running a bunch of tests, and it's going to be pretty costly depending on how long you're there, anywhere up to like $100,000. So if you're trying to keep costs low, it's always best to go to a local urgent care. And if you don't have money for either or, then you can always call us and we can hook you up with urgent cares that work on what's called a personal injury lien, and they can wait for your case to be over before they're paid.
California's fault system is different from most states, and it matters in Norco, where shared fault situations come up often. A driver swerving to avoid a horse, a chain reaction crash on the SR 91 or I-15 interchange, or a collision at a rural intersection with poor sightline. How does California's pure comparative negligence rule affect a car accident claim?
You can recover damages even if you were mostly at fault. Your recovery is reduced by the percentage of your fault. For example, if you're 70% at fault, you can still recover 30% of your damages. Now, if it's a situation where you're on a rural road and it's a he said, she said, and there's no lines on the road, there may be a potential claim against the city as well. I try not to get the city involved. I mean, we like the city of Norco, and we love our city here. But if it needs to happen, then it needs to happen. Another thing that might be very helpful, especially if you are in Norco, is get a dash cam, because especially in situations where the lines aren't very clear on the road and horses are popping in and out, sometimes the argument and the stories can sound a little colorful, and then the insurance companies, they are not sure what to do with it. So if you have a dash cam, it'll capture everything. Then you don't have to worry about arguing who said what and what horse went where and what line was on the road or not on the road and who saw what where.
Absolutely. How do you actually file an insurance claim step by step after a car accident in Norco area?
You can go on your phone, or you can do it at home online. But you can Google, after you've exchanged information, you'll have the other party's insurance information. I mean, before you open up any claim, to be honest, you should be talking to an attorney to see if they can open it for you instead. But if you can't, or you want to do it yourself for some reason, then whatever insurance company that is, let's say it's Mercury, then you'll Google it, say Mercury file claim, something like that. And there'll be a link that you can click where it allows you to file the claim online. It'll run you through questions step by step about the accident, about you, about the other driver, about the cars involved. And you can answer those questions one by one until you've finished the claim. And then you get a claim number. And it takes a little bit of time for the adjuster to be assigned, but once an adjuster is assigned, they will usually reach out to you to introduce themselves and say, I am the adjuster assigned to your claim, and then ask you whatever questions. A lot of times they'll ask you the same questions that you've already answered when you opened up the claim.
At some point, the insurance process might stall, or the offer might be unacceptable. And this becomes a legal matter with hard deadlines set by the California legislator. So, how long does someone in Norco have to file a car accident lawsuit under the California law?
Generally, you have 2 years from the date of the accident to file a lawsuit. If you miss the deadline, you do lose your right to sue and recover everything or anything. So even if you are in the middle of like almost settling your case, if you don't file that lawsuit and that 2-year deadline passes, now the insurance company has no obligations to settle anything with you, and they will take any and all offers off the table. And so sometimes they do that deliberately to delay the settlement and kind of take you to that 2-year mark just to kind of delay you. And then little did you know, you just lost all your right to recover anything.
Yeah, Norco has a mix of monitored freeways and rural roads with no cameras at all. And the type of evidence that matters depends entirely on where the crash happened. So, what evidence matters most for a car accident claim in the Norco area?
If you are on more of a major road like Hamner, there's usually a lot of businesses around where you can ask them for surveillance footage. They are not legally obligated to give you anything, so you may have to schmooze them up a bit. And within like city of Norco, if you've been here for a while, you normally will know somebody who knows somebody. If you don't know somebody who knows somebody, you can always reach out to the Norco Rotary Club here. I'm actually a secretary there as well, but a lot of the business owners are a member of the Norco Rotary Club. And we meet every Thursday mornings down at Polly's Pies on Hamner at 7:15 in the morning. And somebody there will know somebody who probably owns one of those stores who can get you that footage. But if that doesn't work out for whatever reason, you have to go on your own, it's just be nice and ask them and let them know what's going on and see if they can help you get that footage. Do know that these commercial business situations where they have these like cameras rolling, they loop over. There's an SD card in there or some sort of hard drive that keeps all these footages, but after a certain period, it just records over the last video footage, and it's usually 7 days, sometimes more, sometimes less. I usually gauge around 7 days before it gets recorded over. So if there is any kind of nearby businesses, then I would say go over there right away to try to get that. You may have to bribe them a little and pay them a little bit of something, but it's better to have that evidence sooner rather than later. If you end up in a rural area, a lot of these homes still have Ring cameras. And so hopefully you're in a residential area where a Ring camera may have captured it. Usually the residences are very nice in the area and they're more than willing to help you. Some of them may not be so tech savvy. They may have it installed by some of their grandkids or something like that. So they may give you their phone to try to get the Ring footage for them. But it's always better to go sooner rather than later. I've had situations where the defendant will go ask for it and they went through the phone and actually deleted it. So yeah, there's situations like that too. So sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. And then Narco is not a typical Inland Empire suburb. It is a 14 square mile equestrian community where horse trails cross busy roads and two-lane streets connect directly to freeway on ramps. So, what makes narco car accidents different, and what do those local factors affect when it comes to filing a claim?
I wouldn't say there's a lot of accidents where horses are involved. I've heard of some where they get out of their corral and someone's driving down the road. Usually the speed limit in that residential area is 25 anyway, so you should have enough time to slow down before you hit the horse. But I have heard that horses have been killed. Um, and in situations like that, your car insurance would have to pay for it. The horse is considered property, so you would have to pay for the property damage to the horse if you're found to be at fault.
So, a lot of people are not sure if their case is serious enough to justify calling a lawyer. When should someone in Norco seriously consider calling a car accident attorney?
I would say if you're in a situation where you need to file a claim with an insurance company and you're not going to do things on a cash basis and try to settle the claim outside of insurance for whatever reason, before you call an insurance company to open up a claim, I would say talk to a lawyer. Maybe not necessarily seriously consider hiring one, but at least talking to them to see what your options are and what you have available to you, and at least get some legal advice. If the attorney wants you to hire them, they will let you know that you have a case and they want you to hire them. And if not, you will at least get some sort of advice on how to move forward with the claim before you open up the claim and say things. And then hopefully you do end up finding an attorney, so you don't have to open up any claim. They'll open up everything for you. They don't have to talk to you. And they will let you know that they're going to send a letter to the insurance company so that they don't talk to you. They may call you if the insurance company does call you and need to talk to you. The attorney will probably give that permission in advance and then tell you to let you know, hey, heads up, they're going to call you to coordinate XYZ. It's usually property damage related, a rental car, something like that. And just to let you know that it's specifically for that purpose and they should not be asking you any other questions. If they do, you just have them refer back to the attorney and tell them to call us to ask us answers to those questions.
Okay. And then the insurance company makes an offer, and now there's a real decision to make. So, how does someone in Norco decide whether to take the settlement or take the case to trial in Riverside County?
I think the easy answer to that is just call an attorney, being like, hey, this is what the situation is. This is the offer that's been placed on the table. And it happens all the time. They'll call and be like, hey, do you recommend that I accept it? Most likely, I will ask for further information. What kind of treatment did you get? What are your medical bills looking like? Do you have any lost wages? How is it affecting your day to day? And depending on your answers, they will have. And I think that's where an advantage comes in of having an attorney, because the attorney, due to their experience, they'll know what the value of your case is, as opposed to a client on their own. They're usually shooting at the hip and wondering if it's even a good offer. So talk to the attorney, and the attorney will tell you like, hey, yeah, that's actually a good offer. I think you can actually negotiate a little bit more. Or they'll be like, hey, that's a really low ball offer. Or hey, it's too soon to be negotiating right now. You're still treating. So I think asking an attorney for their advice on whether to accept the settlement offer or not will be pretty helpful. And it's always a free consultation. So whatever they tell you, it only helps you.
Yeah. Deborah, this has been incredibly valuable, especially for Norco specific details about handling accidents in a city where horse trails cross major roads and the sheriff's department runs law enforcement. So, for someone watching this who has been in a car accident in Norco, what is the one thing you want them to remember?
One thing to remember, just call an attorney. Or, if you're in Norco, and it's not just that your accident happened in Norco, but if you happen to be nearby, come by. We're right down the street. We're on Hamner, right across from Firestone 150, or Fire Grill. I think it's Firestone or Fire Grill 150 with the shoe cobbler and the gas station. We're right next to the Norco family funeral home and the public storage. You can always talk to us.
Perfect. And then if someone wants to talk to you about their car accident claim in Norco, what is the best way to reach Empire Law?
So we're pretty close by, so stop on by, or you can call us 951-456-3891, or you can email us info@empireatty.com. That's A as in attorney, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, Y as in yellow.com. You can go on our website. I think there's an inquiry form there as well.
Yes, absolutely. And then I know you had already mentioned this, but just to confirm, that first consultation is free, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you have been in a car accident in Norco and you're not sure what to do next, make that call. You can find Empire Law at www.empireatty.com. That's EMPIREATTY.com, or call them directly at 951-456-3891. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next episode of Empire Law.